Hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing a book review, and I'm going to be reviewing this book that I finished last night. This is In Real Life, My Journey to a Pixelated World by Joey Graceffa. This is a memoir slash autobiography, and in case you don't know, Joey Graceffa is a very popular YouTuber. He has millions of subscribers. I am somewhat of a newer fan of Joey Graceffa. I didn't start watching his videos until 2016. When I know that a lot of people, especially people who like understood everything in this book, started watching him sooner because, let's see, this book came out in 2015, so this book came out before I started watching him, so people who've been watching him longer than me probably understood the events of the story very well, but everything in here was new to me since I am somewhat of a newer Joey Graceffa fan. Now, before I get into anything else with this video, I feel it's extremely important to acknowledge that Joey is not problem-free, and I do not 100% agree or support with everything that Joey does. Specifically, he has collaborated with some very problematic people, including Trisha Paytas and Shane Dawson. Not gonna necessarily get into what they did here, but in case you don't know what Trisha and Shane have done, look into that. It's not pretty, and Joey's collabed with them, and Joey has also not been social distancing very well during COVID. Based on a social media post, he's really seeing friends that don't live in his household. So yeah, now that I've got that out of the way, let's get into the bulk of this review. So there's a ton of content warnings and trigger warnings for this book. This review is going to be mostly spoiler free if you are a Joey Graceffa fan, but if you know nothing about Joey, there's going to be some stuff in here that you're going to be like, whoa, that's a little shocking. So, content warnings: bullying, ableism, homophobia, the R word and the F word. Trigger warnings: alcoholism and suicidal ideation. Just putting that out there, this is not the book for everybody because it deals with some hard topics, but I think that the way that Joey covers these topics is very respectful and considerate, especially the alcoholism part and the ableism and homophobia that he experienced. He really talks about it really well and in a respectful way. So this is a memoir that covers his time basically until he published this book, which is when he was 24 years old. It covers time from when he was very little to getting a learning disability, to dealing with an alcoholic mother, to moving to LA, starting a YouTube channel, and starting out dating and coming out. So it really covers a lot of different topics, and I think everybody can find something that they relate to, and at least that they find eye-opening in here. For me personally, I had a disability and I had to get accommodations in school, so whenever Joey was talking about getting bullied at school and his disability, I really related to that. And I also found everything about the alcoholism to be very eye-opening. I don't have a parent that's an alcoholic, but I do think I have some relatives who struggle with alcohol problems, so it sort of gave me like an insight into what some of my other relatives are going with, if it's their mom or dad that's an alcoholic, or their kid or anything like that, because I feel like we can talk about alcoholism as much as we want, and we don't fully like grasp it though unless we hear the perspective of someone that's like very close to someone with alcoholism. Like, it really helped me grasp and understand how hard alcoholism is. That being said, even though Joey did cover a lot of topics and they were very eye-opening and there was relatable parts to a lot of them, I also feel like he didn't go deep enough into like how it was affecting him mentally. Like, I get like alcoholism is hard, but how was that affecting Joey's mental health? Like, I'm sure that was like causing depression and stress. I really wanted to know like deeper meaning, like what's it going through. Like, it's one thing to share your experience, and it's another thing to like take the next step and have like a deeper emotional explanation for like how you're doing when this is all happening. I didn't really get a grasp of what the disability exactly looked like and how it affected Joey's brain. It just was like, oh, Joey has a disability and he's being bullied for having a disability, but I really wanted to know like how was that affecting Joey's brain. Like, I wanted to know more about that. I feel like it takes a step from like a shallow memoir to like a deep emotional one, and this memoir didn't really take that step that I was hoping for. One of the things I really appreciate about this book is that we're getting Joey's life story, and that is really cool, but with it, Joey also like summarizes at the end like things for you to take away. And if there isn't anything for you to really like take away from the story or the chapter, it can be things like my favorite anime, like recommending animes for people to get into. And sometimes it's the things to take away from are like actual things that can help you. Like, this one is how to deal with online haters. It shows up in this fun format at the end of every chapter, these little like things to take away. I thought that that was cool because Joey's taking what's happening in his life and applying it to his readers' lives and using it as sort of like motivational or encouragement sometimes with these endnotes that he had to the chapters. I specifically liked the one about how to deal with online haters, as being that I'm dealing with a situation that I'm not ready to go into detail about here. but I'm just saying that some of the stuff that he said in that was really helpful to me. Now, as Joey's like talking about how he's becoming famous and stuff, one of the things that he talked about made me very uncomfortable and did not help me gain any respect for Joey. So there's this thing that a lot of YouTubers do. A lot do it. Trust me, I know that technically it will probably get you more followers, but like, you're just gonna annoy the crap out of people. Like, for every 1 follower you gain, you're gonna piss off 5 people with doing this. Trust me. So it's one thing to like promote your videos on your channel and on your other social media. Like on Twitter, I'll post and be like, hey, you should follow my YouTube channel if you aren't already. And in everyone's videos, we say like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Like, we self-promote ourselves on our own platforms. But Joey did this thing that I really hate, where you self-promote on other people's platforms. And it's not like waiting for YouTuber to be like, hey, if you're a fellow YouTuber, leave your channel down below so that I can watch your videos. No, it's like commenting and being like, hey, go follow my account, I make fun videos. Or like, hey, if you like this video, then you like my video. He did it a little differently, so like, I bet he wouldn't have even gotten like caught for this if he hadn't talked about it in the book, which is that he made different accounts to do this self-promoting in the comment section of other YouTubers' videos. I just really hate this self-promoting thing. Like, it doesn't really vibe with me. It doesn't work. Like, I prefer when people get famous for producing quality content, and quality content you'll eventually discover on your like trending page, For You page, whatever. And I just don't like that self-promoting tactic. And then Joey also felt like he did some collabs, like one in particular that he talked about here, where he was just collabing with other YouTubers to like get more followers, and he was like trying to get big YouTubers to shout him out and stuff, and like that stuff makes me really uncomfortable. Like, yes, connections and collaborations are important on YouTube, but like, it's one thing to like in the back of your brain say like, I want to do this collaboration to gain more followers, and it's another thing to like write a whole chapter in a book about how you're doing this collaboration to gain more followers. Yeah, it's just, it makes me like uncomfortable. Like, sure, if that works for you, then totally go ahead. I mean, I'm not gonna approve of it, but you don't need my approval. No one needs my approval to do anything. I really don't like it. I don't like that tactic. I'd rather someone like genuinely gain subscribers for like not being super pushy about their work to the point where it annoys other people. Like, for example, if I see a comment on like Colleen Ballinger's video and they're like, hey, I'm a small YouTuber, you should go watch me. I'm like, you annoy the actual crap out of me, and so I end up blocking them a lot. Like, it's just like my YouTube pet peeve, basically. My YouTube pet peeve. Self-promoting. I hate it, and Joey did that a lot to get famous. I mean, it is what it is. If I had known that Joey was doing this, like, when I first started watching Joey, I'm not sure if I would have, like, continued to watch Joey, so I don't know. As you can see, I'm conflicted. Like, I want to support Joey, but this part about how Joey became famous, I really, really do not like at all. Is anyone else's way of self-promoting? Like, I understand wanting to get more followers, I really sincerely do, but if you're like constantly commenting on other people's videos like, go follow me, it just annoys me so much. Like, stop littering someone else's comment section with trying to get more followers. You see what I mean? Hopefully you see what I mean. So on page 86 of this book, there is a major issue. What is autism? Because Joey has an autistic brother. Here's the thing, autism is very real. I know a ton of people with autism. I've been educating myself on autism, but you can learn much more about it at autismspeaks.org. Joey, you're doing so good with your book. You're doing so good. And then you encourage people to look at a very harmful organization. I will link an article down in the description below about why Autism Speaks is not a good resource at all. Basically, with autism, like, you have to accept people with autism. You can't like try and like cure them. And there's like this puzzle piece imagery that Autism Speaks use that sort of like makes it seem like people with autism are like this incomplete person, just like one piece of a puzzle, like very incomplete, and it's like, it's just harmful imagery. I'm not summarizing it very well, but I will have an article down in the description below for why Autism Speaks is bad. But listen to autistic people. Autistic people have said Autism Speaks is a very, very bad organization, and to have one of my favorite YouTubers promoting that site in their book, very disappointing to say the least. So potentially my final like criticism thing of this book is that Joey got popular off of this Winter Spring Pro like YouTube thing where he did like parodies and short film type things, and he did it with this gal named Brittany. Now, when I was reading this chapter about Brittany, I was feeling a lot of emotions. As someone who's lost friends, because friendships end, things happen, I felt for Brittany, and I felt like there was more to the story than what was being told. I really appreciate that Joey didn't just like present himself as like this star person throughout the book. Like, he did talk about mistakes that he made and things that he did that weren't the greatest, like when he got his car towed one time. But with this thing with Brittany, I was like, I feel like I'm not getting the full story. I want to hear what Brittany has to say, because it feels like even though they may be friends now and they may have worked it through, I feel like there would still be some tension, and I feel like Brittany might not be 100% happy with how things turned out with that, and how like Joey took this opportunity to like work for this other company when Brittany wasn't offered the opportunity, and like they basically ended Winter Spring Pro. Like, it feels like there would have been some tension there, so I don't want to like stir up the pot and stir up drama, but like I do want to know Brittany's side, and I want to hear her thoughts on the situation. Now, one more thing before I get on to my final part of the book, and that thing is that a lot of YouTubers' memoirs blend together and all seem the same, and this one is no exception. In the long run, I'm not going to be able to distinguish in real life from binge or from a work in progress. It's like, I'm sorry, like there's nothing that distinguishes this. Maybe what would distinguish a YouTuber book from me from another YouTuber book is if we had a YouTuber who wrote in verse, because verse is very bouncy and flowy and it's different than what other YouTubers have done, but this was just like very standard, like here's my life, here's how I became a YouTuber, and here's me discovering that I'm gay, which is essentially what the other YouTuber memoirs that I've read are. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, yes, speak your truth, speak your story, but in the long run, I'm not going to be able to distinguish these books from each other because it just feels like any other YouTuber book. Okay, now on to my favorite part of the book. So, when I first started getting involved with Joey Graceffa, like, getting involved, that's not the right word, like watching Joey's videos, I was also like watching Tyler Oakley on The Amazing Race when he like went on The Amazing Race the first time, and then I like really got into The Amazing Race, and I was like, what season do I watch after Tyler? And then I found out Joey was on The Amazing Race, so I was like, I really need to watch Joey's seasons on The Amazing Race. He was on 2 different seasons, and so I'm really glad that Joey talked about The Amazing Race in this book. I was a little worried that he wouldn't talk about The Amazing Race because I didn't really like look at the chapter headings, which would have told me that he talked about The Amazing Race, but I was worried that he wouldn't talk about The Amazing Race because I have heard Strawberry 17, so the person who Joey went on The Amazing Race with, she seemed like she has some like trauma and anxiety revolving around the race. Like, it wasn't necessarily the like happiest experience of her life to be on it. Like, it was a little hard to talk about, so I was like, I wonder if Joey's gonna like skirt away from that and not talk about that, but I'm so glad that he did. I really got a lot more insight into The Amazing Race. I'm always so curious how the show works. Joey didn't necessarily like answer every question that I had, but I just really appreciate the insights that I got into The Amazing Race from that chapter. Although I still want to know, how do you deal with jet lag on The Amazing Race? How? Because you're like flying everywhere and you don't have like time to adjust to the new time zone, right? How do you deal with jet lag? How? That's like my #1 question, and something I want to find out someday. Yes, I really want to find that out. So those are really my thoughts on In Real Life, and I really think this book is a book that casual fans of Joey Graceffa or people who don't know Joey Graceffa at all can easily just skip this, but if you're a hardcore Joey Graceffa fan, I feel like it's like required reading. This book is how Joey Graceffa came out as gay. It's how he came out, literally. Like, let's see if I can find the chapter. Like, look, he came out as gay on page 156. This was the first time he ever came out as gay. I think that's really cool and really special that his coming out is preserved forever in this book, and it's very beautiful. So yeah, I think like hardcore Joey Graceffa fans will need to read this. Like, you have to. Like, it feels like you just have to because you like Joey, but like if you're just a casual fan, just skip it. If you watch his old videos, it won't necessarily tell you more than what you already get from all of his videos on his channel. One thing that I really want though is I do want a sequel to this book in the future, because while Joey covered a lot of information in this book, there's still more information from more current times that I want to learn about. So to start off with, this book came out in 2015, and I really want to know like what happened with Escape the Night. Like, I want the tea spilled on that. Were there people that were like crappy and made it hard to work with? I want to know that stuff. I don't know if he'll do that because he probably like wants to respect his castmates and stuff. I want to know how it is that he came to be the person he is today, like personality wise, because in this book you definitely have the like just came out of the closet or like the I'm still in the closet for like most of the book. Like, he definitely had a personality change when he came out because he felt like he could be his true self, and this book is like before he became his true self, because I feel like 2021 Joey is different than the closeted 2014 Joey. So I would really like a sequel to this. I also want to know about Joey's health issues, maybe going into that more because he's had a ton of health issues and I really want to know more about that. And I also want to know about what happened with Daniel, Joey's ex-boyfriend. And yeah, so that's really all my thoughts. I know that this was really like a very rambling video. I like jumped all over the place between different topics, but I really just wanted to get my thoughts out about this book and to talk about it. I give this book 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I think that I did take a lot of things away from it because I'm a newer Joey Graceffa fan, but like it wasn't like that spectacular. The writing wasn't like the most amazing thing that I've ever read in my life, but I did find it enjoyable, and 3 stars to me means that I liked it. So that is my rating for this book, and those are all of my thoughts. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. Feel free to also hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. And all of Joey Graceffa's social media will be linked down in the description below in case you're curious about who he is, if you're not super familiar with him or anything like that. I feel like I've read most YouTube memoirs now that I wanted to read. I don't think any other YouTubers that I follow have a memoir that I haven't read yet, so yeah. I think I'm done with YouTube memoirs for a while, unless a new one comes out. So I hope all of you are having a great start to your week. Goodbye everyone, have a great week!